Good morning, Cypress Village residents. Welcome to our virtual coffee chat here today, August 7th. Good morning and happy Friday to all. Also, like I always say, have a happy weekend. Today we've got several items on the episode that I think you will enjoy. First we're going to kick it off with Katie Amador. Katie is back. We've missed her. She's been gone for almost 2 months, and we are very, very excited to have her. At the same time and in the same breath, we want to thank Brianne and Tiffany for holding up resident programs during Katie's absence. So thank you, ladies. Katie's going to give you some updates on some ideas that she has to refresh resident programs a little bit, in the coming weeks. Followed by Katie, we've got Nick LaLiberty, our Director of Administrative Services. He's going to touch on some security updates as well as some ideas he has for traffic control and speeding control throughout the village. Followed up after Nick is there's going to be a sneak peek. We have installed and built out a new amenity up in assisted living. They now have a movie theater. So you're going to get a sneak peek at the new amenity that our existing residents up in assisted living will be able to enjoy moving forward. Thomas and Brianne partnered on a Guess That Ingredient last week, and we are going to get some direct feedback from residents that participated in that event and see what they have to say. And I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's going to be interesting and fun to watch. And last but not least, we've got Brian Berger and Jason Smith, who are going to give everybody an idea of what the burger of the week is going to be this week as well. So we hope you enjoy today's episode. I forgot myself. I'm going to cover the liability waiver that went out. We've had a lot of inquiries, emails, and questions regarding that particular document. So I'm going to do my best to give a little explanation behind the document, what the document is, why the document is being distributed, and some frequently asked questions I will plan to answer for our residents here today. Have a great day. Thank you.
Hello, Cypress Village residents. It is your favorite resident programs director, Katie Amador. I am back from maternity leave. I thank you all for giving me some time with little baby Ava, but I am happy to be back at Cypress Village, and we have some very exciting things planned over the next couple of weeks. But the first few things I'm going to touch base on are things that we have going on this upcoming week. But the first that I would like to mention is a Take Me Out to the Ball Game baseball social, which will take place in the OMR on Thursday the 13th at 1 o'clock. We are going to watch the Nationals take on the Mets. We're going to have baseball-themed refreshments, and we are taking sign-ups up to 10 people. So if you're interested, there will be more information in the resident programs packets that are distributed in the next couple of days here. We are also planning in honor of Shark Week, which is taking place August 9th through the 16th. We are planning a Shark Week themed drink cart and drink van for the houses. More information will be on that will be in the activities packets as well, but that will take place on Friday the 14th from 1 to 3:30, and we will bring around to all of the apartments and all of the houses a Shark Week themed drink and decorations, so keep an eye out for that. We also are planning a color walk in the next couple of weeks, and more information will be coming soon on that, so stay tuned. And also today, this very same day that you are watching Coffee Chat, Friday at 12 o'clock out at the dog park, it's a secret so I'm being quiet, we are going to have a little going away party for Hallie, who has been so very helpful during her time here at Cypress Village and while I was out on maternity leave. And if you don't already know, Hallie is obsessed with dogs, so we invite all of the residents who have dogs to bring out your pups. We're going to have refreshments for humans and for our furry friends. So join us today at 12 o'clock out at the dog park to say goodbye to Hallie and to get some socialization for you and your doggies. And with that being said, that is all the updates I have. I'm still getting into the swing of things, so give me about one more week and then we're going to ramp up some programs and have some really exciting things going on. If you have any questions, feel free to stop by my office. I look forward to seeing you all, and I'm so happy to be back.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Coffee Chat. If you don't know me, I'm Nick. I'm the Director of Administrative Services here at Cypress Village. So the things I have to touch on today, there's about 3 or 4 of them. The first one being the most important is the speeders here in Cypress Village. I know that's a big, touchy subject for a lot of you, and we've been trying to control it. So what we've come up with is we're going to do a trial run of what's called rumble strips at the stop signs on East and West. We're going to see how they work out with the emergency services departments and things like that. But if it becomes successful, we'll probably go ahead and install them at every stop sign here in the village. Hopefully that'll calm the speeders, the employees, the residents, everyone in one quick swipe. I've also been getting some reports that there's seeds being delivered from China. That's part of some scam that's going around. We do ask you that you not throw them away, that you deliver them to security or the front desk, and then we will dispose of them properly. So if you get anything from China, it's got sunflower seeds, any type of seeds in it, please do report it, and we can either come out or you can drop them off. The last thing is the solicitation. It being, an election year and things like that, there's going to be a lot more solicitation that's coming through the village. So in order to combat that, we are ordering a nice brand new sign, professionally made. That'll be installed hopefully next week at some point. We'll take those 2 paper signs that are in the front entrance, and we're going to actually relocate those over to the Windsor Park entrance, because I've been getting reports of bikers coming through there and riding around the village, runners, joggers, what have you. And if you see anybody that looks suspicious, that you may think is solicitation, make sure to get their license plate and report that to security as well. I hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you soon.
Hello again, residents. This segment I'm going to cover the liability waiver that was distributed last Friday, and we were asking residents to have that back to us by this Friday today. I just wanted to clarify a few things regarding the waiver, as I was asked to by resident council, as well as other residents that wanted further explanation of it. There have been numerous questions and inquiries, so in addition to me explaining some things about the waiver, I will also answer some frequently asked questions about the waiver. So with that, I wanted to make sure that what the waiver states is really 2 components. It's a pretty simple document. It's not abnormal for residents, visitors, members of different clubs or whatnot to sign liability waivers and take responsibility, upon their own actions. So the first component is basically just talking about making the residents aware. It's the acknowledgement of the waiver itself. And as all residents are aware, Cypress Village has taken many steps and implemented many protocols over the past several months that are very much aligned with all public health officials, CDC, et cetera, to keep our general population as safe and healthy as possible, and obviously keep the virus out. No matter what we do to keep this virus out, however, we will never be able to fully control the risk related to that virus and exposure while anybody is visiting Cypress Village or residents that live here. So, on the acknowledgement, that's basically the first half of this liability waiver. Components of the waiver are twofold. One is the acknowledgement. On the acknowledgement, we have basically stated in the document that we've informed you of the risk of contracting COVID, and you're assuming this risk either by visiting the building, living here, participating in whatever we have that's going on here, amenities that we've reopened, et cetera. Also within the acknowledgement, it states that you understand the steps that we have taken and you have been informed of these steps that we have mentioned previously in regards to protocols and screening and those type of steps that are aligned with public health policy. And you've agreed to comply with all of those. And lastly, in the acknowledgement section of the document, it states that we reserve the right to change these protocols, and you agree to comply with these changes at any time that we make changes, which you have. So I don't think there's anything new in the acknowledgement section of this document that should be shocking. The second component of the document is the release and liability of claims. The first bullet point that I'd like to reference there is confirming that you are fully aware of all the risks involved of contracting COVID while being a resident here at Cypress Village. The second component is related to the release of liability and claims that may arise here by a resident contracting or a visitor contracting COVID. The first bullet I'd like to state basically just confirms that you are aware of these risks and you're agreeing not to sue the community if and when you contract the virus or somebody you love contracts the virus. And you would not sue the community for any damages related to that. You know, ultimately, it is really very difficult to trace specifically where a virus could be contracted. If you are being extremely careful in doing everything that we have designed to keep you safe, as well as following public health protocols, the chances are very slim that you're going to contract it. However, not saying that you won't, to trace exactly where you contract the virus is nearly impossible. So basically what we're asking in this first bullet point is just to understand what that assumed liability is. As a resident here at Cypress Village. It's really not much more than that. We all have to be very conscientious, very responsible about what we do at home, what we do outside of home, and who we have that comes into our home. That is really the Achilles heel of the safety and well-being of our residents here at Cypress Village. So what we're asking you to do is not out of the ordinary. I think it's a step in the right direction to really help us start the reopening process and continue to keep on the front side of everybody's minds how important it is to be safe and responsible. I'll start with some of the most frequently asked questions that we've had over the last week. One of them is, why this waiver now? So as Florida starts to reopen in other states, along with Cypress Village, there will be a much greater risk for potential contraction that is outside of our control. This document will help us financially due to any potential impacts or claims that could arise. I can assure you, outside of the residents that we're asking to sign this form, we are asking any visitor, family member, vendor, or contractor that enters this building to sign this form. This is a non-negotiable form that they will have to sign. The next question that comes up most often is, who has to sign the waiver? As I just referenced, all visitors, all contractors, all vendors will be absolutely required to sign it. Residents say, well, what if we don't sign it? That's another question. Residents are required to sign it as well. However, residents are not required to sign it if they choose not to. We are asking them to sign it. This is not a determining factor whether we are going to terminate a residency agreement if there's a refusal to sign. Absolutely not. I want everybody to be 100% clear that if you do not sign, you will not be kicked out, because I've heard that several times. That is not the intent here. The intent is to make sure that we insulate ourselves from potential liability that could exist that is not based upon our negligence. That is the basis of it. The next most popular question is, what if I, a resident, refuse to sign it? As I mentioned, we cannot force any resident to sign this as part of their residency here at Cypress Village. No resident agreement will be termed if you do not sign. However, once we continue to reopen our communal areas, whether it be dining, whether it be fitness, whether it be events and entertainment, transportation off-site, whatever that may look like at that time, we may at that time ask you to sign it, and it may be required for you to participate on certain outings that may have a higher exposure than you staying in your home. So that's to be determined, but just a little caveat there. With that, another concern that was brought to me as well was regarding the timing of the signing of the document. So we asked for all residents to sign the document as of this Friday, which is today, the 7th of August. Due to some of the concerns that residents brought forth, like, for instance, I've had no time to review it with my family or my children, or potentially a legal representative, we are going to extend that until the end of August. So residents that have not signed it already and provided it, we will give you an extension till the end of August, which should give you enough time, give you a little cushion to get comfortable with the language and the intent behind the document. So I hope that relieves some pressure on you and your families. Again, just to summarize the basis behind it, regardless of any effort we put forward here, we can only do so much to prevent, COVID-19 entering the community. We have done an excellent job. I'm extremely proud as well as humbled by us in comparison to a lot of the senior living and long-term care communities throughout the state of Florida. We are doing exceptional, and we want to continue to do so. As such, this is also a step we are taking to make all residents aware, all visitors aware, all vendors aware that what their risks and responsibilities are living here, doing business here, being an employee here are. And, the federal government has been tinkering with, granting immunity across the board for communities and businesses similar to Cypress Village. If the Fed does that, the state of Florida does not have that in place, but if the Fed does do something similar to that, this document obviously will become null and void. But until that, and if that happens, we really ask our residents to, trust us, sign this document once you're comfortable with it, and we'll continue to work together to keep Cypress Village as safe as possible. And I really hope the extension gives people a little bit of relief. We weren't trying to cram it down your throats by any means, but it is our due diligence to get it executed and completed. So with that, again, I just want to thank all of our residents for their support, their nice letters, kind words, their patience through this, unprecedented times. It's been very difficult on all of us, but I do want to thank you again, and take care.
All right, good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to be going over some of the new to-go containers that we've been using. As I mentioned in a previous newsletter, we're hoping to find the one that we'll continue to use after, once we get out of all these crazy phases. So just to give you a little overview of what, how we decided on what to use, and also what you can do with them from a recycling standpoint. So this first one is the most popular one in my opinion. So this, if you look on the bottom of it, you'll see the recycling emblem. So obviously it's recycling. It's also microwavable safe. So for any plastics, I always like to put a disclaimer with microwave safe, because anything you put in the microwave is going to eventually break down. So although it's microwave safe, I do not recommend it microwaving it for an extended period of time. A couple minutes, you'll be fine. But once you go, over and over again, or for more than 5 minutes, the plastic starts to break down. Anything's going to start to break down in the microwave. So this is the one we've been using for the entrees, starches, and vegetables. It's got some little breathable things here, so if there is a fried item, there is way for air to escape, so hopefully it will stay a little bit crispy. So that's that one. This one we've been using in the loon's nest primarily for sandwiches. Again, it has the recycling emblem on the bottom, and it does state that it is microwave safe, but also, as previously stated, be careful in the microwave. One note on these: for recycling purposes, you can recycle them. The only thing that the city asks is that you rinse everything out very thoroughly before placing it in the recycle bin. This one here, again, is recyclable and microwave safe. We've been using these for a lot of fruit cups, some salads, and things like that. Again, recyclable, but rinse it out. This one here we've been using for the soup. Some of the concerns I've heard is that the lid is difficult to take off, which it is a very snug fitting lid, which is good. In the event we put it in the bag with your entrees, it won't come open very easily. So that was one of the decisions for going with this one. One thing about this, the bottom part here is compostable, however you say it. So you can throw it in the trash and it'll decompose, as opposed to the styrofoam, which will not. The lid you can recycle. So as long as you make sure it's rinsed, you can recycle the lid and throw this in the garbage. These two boxes here, pretty much the exact same, just different sizes, obviously. So the smaller one we've been using for salads, things like that. And then this one, we have one that's completely open and one that has the 3 compartments we've been using for entrees and different things in the loon's nest, as well as the main dining room. With these 2 boxes, they're both 100% compostable. I can't say that word today for some reason. Either way, it's biodegradable. So you can throw these away and you don't have the same guilt that you feel when you throw away the styrofoam containers, as they will just sit in the landfill forever. These will decompose naturally. So again, these were some items I know over the years I got a lot of requests to use biodegradable containers or plastic or microwavable containers. So these are the ones that we've been trying out and have had the most success with. So if you have any thoughts or suggestions or comments you want to make with the boxes that we've been using, please let me know. I'm very curious to know how you all enjoy them, and so far the feedback I've gotten has been very positive. So hope you all enjoy them and doing our part to take care of the environment.
Good morning. Our burger of the week this week is our burger, which has pesto ranch, fried mozzarella, and bacon on a sesame seed bun, lettuce, tomato, onion, and a pickle. Enjoy.
Hi Cypress Village family, this is Victory and Jessica from Assisted Living. We just want to invite you guys to see our movie theater that we've been working really hard on, and Jessica can give you a little bit more information about it.
So we've been working on this project for the last couple months. This is going to be something that we are going to be able to use not only for assisted living, but also our memory care residents as well. The movie theater is fully stocked. We are ready. We have plenty of beer, wine, sodas, and we also have some nice treats for our residents as well. So we decide the movies not only from our residents' request, but also we showed the classics and we also show new movies as well. We usually always have a Saturday movie matinee, and we always have a mystery movie on Wednesdays. But this can also be reserved for any resident that wants to have a special event in here as well. So please come up here and have a beer or wine with some of your assisted living friends that you have up here. You guys are totally welcome as well.
And we can't wait for some of our IL residents to join the fun up here on Assisted Living.
Hello. So as you heard last week, we partnered with Resident Programs to do a contest of what we called Name That Food. So the contest took place. I have the results in my hand of the winners, but before we get to that, I just want to give everybody else a overview of how the process went. So we had 8 residents sign up. I went to the grocery store and tediously chose 12 foods that the residents were going to taste. Some I picked that were very similar in color and texture, just to see how refined our residents' palates truly are. Some said it was very difficult. Some actually did very well, and I was surprised because if it were me, I would not have been able to identify what some of these things are just by looking. I tried to cut them up in a different way that they're typically presented. So we'll go down the list of ingredients, and then I'm sure the residents who participated will know approximately where they stand from here. So the foods that I chose, number 1 was kiwi. So when I cut the kiwi, I made sure to not have any of the black seeds, which are a dead giveaway with kiwi. Bamboo shoots, number 2, very similar tasting to a lot of different vegetables. Jicama was one, it's a root vegetable, very crunchy, so it could be a very unflavorful apple or even a potato almost. Arugula, it's a peppery kind of leafy green, could also be mistaken for an herb. Papaya, which that was kind of a gimme, and I saw it and it looked really ripe, so I thought it would be pretty good. Rutabaga, which is another somewhat difficult one because it's very similar color to a potato once cooked, but it has a very distinctive cabbagey smell. Water chestnuts, which I figure were interesting. Water chestnuts I found interesting because no matter how much you cook them, they'll stay crunchy. Don't know how they do it. Honey mango, the other one. Some residents said I gave them the point, but it's a bright yellow mango, very beautiful. The outside flesh color's yellow as well as the inside. Dates were the next one. I'll say it was a gimme because there's not really many things that look like a date. The next one is called boniato, which is essentially a white sweet potato. So a lot of the residents just put potato next to it. So I gave them that. I'm not going to make everybody be that specific, but the crazy thing about that is when you cut it, it's very brown on the outside and very white on the inside. It looks like a potato. And the second you start cutting it, it's white, but then within seconds it oxidizes and starts turning, a brownish color, similar to the way if you were to cut an apple and leave it out, but the apple would take 10 minutes. This white sweet potato takes approximately 10 seconds, which I found interesting. The next one was Yukon potato, something that we eat here quite often. And the last one was tofu. So I tried to crumble it up, make it look a little different.
I hope the exercise of this is not so that Thomas can feed his horse hay and not have the residents tell the difference between that and the good stuff.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't his intent.
Well, we had 12 of these little tiny cups, like we would get salad dressings or sauces in, and each of them had finely diced foods that we would have to taste and try to figure out what in the world they were.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting because sometimes I thought, oh, I know what this is, but I don't have the word for it. Yeah. So it was interesting to see those things, and it'd be interesting to know what they put them all in.
Oh, I thought it was great fun. Yeah, other people should try it. Yeah, it was great fun.
There were several of them that we were pretty certain of, but some of them we had no clue. And in filling out our forms, there were actually a couple of them that we wrote the same thing down for 2 different things, even though we knew neither one of them were probably right. But we couldn't figure out what they were, and we absolutely knew that a wrong answer was no worse than no answer.
I like good food, but I don't know I think a lot when I'm eating something about what went into making that. So this may make me do that.
Oh. It was very, very hard.
I thought this was a fantastic exercise. It opened our eyes to some of the things that Thomas has access to, and some of the things that hopefully he would not have access to in the future.
I tasted all these little containers that got sent up here. Can you see this? I can't imagine how long it took to chop up things in these little bitty pieces. However, what I did learn was that mostly I guessed, and if I had to identify the food from the dining room before I could eat it, I would be 20 pounds lighter.
We learned that we maybe need a little bit more refined schooling on our taste preferences and our palates, but it was absolutely an exciting thing to go through.
What I learned is that I don't recognize a lot of foods unless they're cooked.
Oh, my message to Thomas is I appreciate all the time it must have taken to chop up all these little things and put them in cups for all of us, and how we're still being fed royally during this time. He could just put a plate in front of us and say, here's your food. Instead, we have lots of choices, so that's a good thing.
He's pretty sneaky. That's what I learned. For example, I think one is a potato and another is a yucca. And if I'm right, that was pretty sneaky. And there's things in here that a lot of people never eat, like tofu. I am pretty positive about that one. And then there's other things that, some people eat normally. I have eaten, like dates. I used to use them in cooking all the time. Haven't done that in a long time, so I picked that one right away. And then I rarely use fresh spices, so I wasn't sure with this, and I kind of snuck around in my spice cabinet trying to figure out in dried spices, so I'd taste the dry spice and taste this. I knew it was a spice, but I still couldn't tell. Mm-hmm. So kudos to Thomas. Yeah. And then this one, which I think I threw away, but I didn't know what it was, so I decided to cook it. And it popped a little bit. So I decided it was corn, although it didn't look at all like corn, but I think it was corn.
Thank you for all the work that you and your staff are going through. There's some of the special meals that have come through lately that have been just absolutely fantastic, and just keep them coming.
Like I said, a lot of the residents did very well. Out of the 12, we had one resident who got 9 correct, which I was pretty impressed by. They did leave 2 spaces blank, so if they would have guessed, they might have had more. But that resident was Nora Manahan. And so she and her husband can expect a lobster dinner with wine at a time of their choosing. Myself or the chef will personally deliver it out and congratulate them. So Nora Manahan, if you're watching, give me a call. Let me know when you want that lobster dinner. If not, I'll be in touch with you. So I hope all the residents that participated enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for me trying to trick you. And hopefully we'll be doing something like this very, very soon. So hope you enjoy.
Yeah, he could commit crimes and we would never know.
This is our weekly COVID update, from a state perspective, regional perspective, and then a community's perspective. For the state of Florida, we are up to 510,000 total cases throughout the state of Florida, which is staggering. On a positive note, relative to the overall number, the confirmed cases over the past probably 2 weeks has flattened and is starting to decline. Upwards of 2 weeks ago, we were averaging somewhere in the 10 to 11,000 new cases a day average. The past 3 to 4 days have been around 5,000. So that's a significant drop, which is very positive overall. Death rate, as we've mentioned over the past few weeks, is steadily declining. It is down to, roughly 19 a day was the last statistic I have here, but it was averaging somewhere around 20 to 25. So we're seeing progress in both areas, which is very promising in the macro scope. Here within Duval, we've got 22,568 cases, which resulted in 653 hospitalizations and 165 deaths. So overall, it's still tough to swallow, but the data is getting better and more positive. Here at Cypress Village, very proud to say our last round of test results for our associates, which was roughly 2 weeks ago, we had 440 tests that were run, and we had not one positive case to report during that period. So that is excellent news. I attribute that to our employees doing the right thing when they're not here and acting responsibly. We were tested again today. All employees will be tested today and tomorrow, and we should have results by early to mid next week. And my hopes are that we have a very low number, if not zero, which would be statistically difficult, but we'll take it nonetheless. So with that, we still have 10 reported cases here at Cypress Village. All employees, all have returned to work except 2 that I'm aware of. So they've all recovered except 2. And we still, to this day, have no patients in our healthcare center or residents in the general population that have tested COVID positive. So that is just an outstanding statistic, and everything you're doing is working. Please continue to be as safe as you possibly can. We will do the same on our side, and together we will get through this. It's starting to show a light at the end of the tunnel. So with that, we're going to just flip from COVID to something more positive, which is birthdays. Let's see what we have on hand today. August 7th, we have 4 birthdays out there. I think we mentioned these last week, but you're going to get it again because today is your birthday. So Mrs. Astolfi, Ernene Astolfi, Kate Nall, Ruth Nozalek, and Roger Nichols. Happy birthday to all 4 of you today. On the 8th, tomorrow, we have 2 birthdays. We've got Ted Galloway and Victoria Fahey. On the 9th, we've got Inga Cavis and Sarah McHugh. Inga and Mary Broxma. Happy birthday to you 2 ladies. On the 10th, just 1 birthday, that's Sarah McHugh. On the 11th, we've got Christine Westmoreland and Vicky Kashmiri. And on the 12th, we've got Helen Peck and Joan Fenton. Happy birthday to you 2. On the 13th, we've got Kalina Townsend and Roger Woodbury. And last but not least, we've got 2 on the 14th, Betty Phipp and Sue Harrelson. So residents, happy birthday to all of you today and this upcoming week. And hopefully residents are reaching out to you all as well and wishing you a happy birthday. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Take care and thank you.